It's the Frontline. I'm your host Anthony Dufour, along with Janice Learmond-Criqui. I say, hey, that's a week worth of practice, guys. As well as we have a great guest tonight, Mr. Kerry Grant. And well, today it's the 16th of November 2017. And again, PEP, welcome all the peppers around the world. We're here. And tonight's topic is sports in its impact on our community. So again, Kerry is someone who loves sports, and tonight we're going to talk about how to connect sports, education, youth, and child development. Kerry has a world of, I tell you, the man just blew me away. Talking to him for the short period just before the show started, I mean, it's like, whoa, but I'm not even going to go down that road. He will be more than happy to let you know. But, Janice.
Okay, so Kerry, we want to start off with, how did you get involved in sports?
How I got involved in sport? Well, first off, good night Trinidad and Tobago, good night to the world, good night to all our viewers out there. As they said, my name is Kerry Grant, and I'm happy to be here tonight. To answer the first question, how did I get involved with sport, Janice? Wow, well, my family on both sides of the coin, they were always heavily involved in sport, and I guess the apple just fell very close to the tree. Yes, yes. My dad, he was an athlete, and my mom not so much, but her sisters and her siblings were heavily involved in sport.
What kind of sport?
Athletics, football, gymnastics, and so forth, volleyball, and that sort of thing. Even swimming.
Very good.
Right, and just growing up in a family like that. My father, when I was very young, we used to live in Gasparilla, and in Gasparilla, there was a cane field not too far from where we used to live, and my dad used to wake up very early in the morning and go for these very long runs, you know, through the cane field. And
well, in those days it was safer.
Those days it was safer, correct, very much. Yes, and I believe as soon as I could recognize what he was doing, and would miss, of course, all sons would want to be, daddy, where you going every day? You want to be like daddy. Yeah. So I used to beg him at the age of 4 or 5 years old to go run with him. Right. Now, some of the most vivid and wonderful memories I have back then with my father, when I couldn't match his pace, he would put me on his shoulders and he would run his entire course. So we're looking like about probably 5-6 miles, could be more. And he would run that entire course with me on his shoulders. Wow. And probably with a mile left or so, half a mile left, he would say, okay, Kerry, you're going to have to run the rest home. You know, and I would be there running behind him, running home, you know. And those are really the starting point for me to where I'm at today in sport.
Right.
Yeah.
I see that you're very involved with martial arts.
I am.
And you have all these fabulous titles. I mean, you're a former national Sambo and combat Sambo coach.
Yes.
You are the owner and head coach of the Southern Warriors of Mixed Martial Arts Combat Club. Yes. Now, you were just saying that your family was into all these wonderful sports, but how did you zero in on martial arts?
Well, again, a very, very early age. We grew up in the time of Bruce Lee.
So I kind of think I'm messing with you,
right? we grew up in the time of Bruce Lee, man, and I can tell you that movie, The Game of Death. I remembered it. I mean, I was like probably 5 or 6 years old, you know, and looking at this little man, you know, beating all these big guys. You remember that fight he had with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Yes, that last scene there. And I was like, Dad, look, he beating this giant, you know what I mean? And it took off from there. I was amazed. I was captivated by it. There were parts in the movie, I even from small, I recognized the sense of discipline it had behind this. And
key thing you just mentioned there. We'll come back to that. Stick up in an hour, huh?
Yes. So, you know, it's something that I tug my dad, you know, all the time. Dad, mommy, I want to go and learn karate. I want to go and learn some form of style of martial arts. Right. And I actually started doing something when I was about the age of 7. Okay. And my dad, he bought books back in those days. we didn't have any schools really close to us, so he bought books, you know, and I remember he brought home these little books with little techniques, and he would actually he used to show us these little techniques from it and so forth. And I remember that. Thank you, Dad. You know, and I remember those days having fun, you know, learning these things. And then when I was much older, started going secondary school and so forth, I was exposed to judo and Muay Thai kickboxing, and it just took off from there. I went to the US where it really blossomed, and I decided to come back home to Trinidad and Tobago, and it took off from there, to tell you the truth.
So, explain to us what's the difference between the Sambo versus karate, judo. You know, what's the difference?
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Sambo, first of all, is it's not, when we say the word Sambo, a lot of people think immediately of Brazil. They think it's like,
well, actually, that's what was on my mind.
That's on your mind. So let me clear that up right away. No, it's not a dancing style, and it is not from Brazil. Sambo is a Russian martial art, right? That's right. It's from Russia. Sambo actually came from judo. So we have judo, and the Russians, what they did with Sambo is what they did with judo, they just kind of weaponized it a little more. Yeah, they took it and they made it a little more lethal. So it's a little bit more lethal to judo, you know. And the Russian special forces, actually most of the European countries today, they actually use Sambo in as part of their military and paramilitary training.
Really?
That's correct. And it's something a few years ago I actually did do a proposal to the Ministry of National Security and about using Sambo and implementing it, you know, training with our police officers and our guys that are based in the regiment and Coast Guard and so forth and so forth. I mean, it's a wonder to see a practitioner of Sambo. You actually, the World Championships just went this past week here, where we had two guys represent us, and they placed 7th, I believe, in the world, you know, so that was excellent.
Very nice.
So Sambo, I was very much responsible for helping bring Sambo here to Trinidad and Tobago about 4 or 5 years ago. There's it's under the running now of the president, Sambo president, his name is Jason Fraser, and he has been really pushing the brand and the sport of Sambo, not just in Trinidad but throughout the Caribbean as well.
Very good.
Yeah, and that's basically it. To explain it for the layman, it's just a sport. It came out of judo, and that's basically it.
So the next question I'm going to ask you, what happened to your proposal?
Well, I didn't get any sort of follow-up or feedback about it, to tell you the truth.
No, you had given that proposal to which body?
This was under the UNC. Right? I went to them and I did submit that proposal. I submitted about 2 or 3 proposals. I submitted one to the Ministry of National Security. I did submit one to the Ministry of Education, and I submitted one to the Child, Youth and Welfare Development, Social Welfare, or something like that.
So you had no response from anyone? No one touched base with you, acknowledged that they received the letter, or nothing?
One in the Ministry of Youth and Social Welfare, they contacted me and they told me, well, they have it here and expect a call from the minister, and I never received that phone call. You know, I did try following up on it, because as I say, I tell people before, sport to me is not just about playing sports, being able to run, being able to kick a ball. People need to understand where sport really came from. It was actually brought about not just to develop the physical aspect of human beings, but also to develop the social aspect of human beings, to bring us together. And that's why we have teams. You know, that's why we have people like to follow their area, their team. They have, so it brings a sort of cordial, supposed to bring cordial rivalry. You know, supposed to. You know, but some people take it a little more than others.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
it gets extreme.
It gets extreme
like
sometimes.
The finals, and it's like, you know, so much on the line. Woo!
like Manchester.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. That is crazy. For a game, huh?
For a game. But this is, people build passion. And that is something that I think we need to bring back to our communities, Janice.
Very important.
Yes.
Very important.
Yes.
I also think too discipline, and I think karate is one of the very few sports, karate, judo, that kind of
martial arts.
Martial arts. They are so good at discipline, and it's something that parents don't understand. I also find that for kids, now my son, I try to keep him in the karate environment, but he's still not understanding the benefits of it, and that is the discipline, because when you have to go to school, do your homework and get into a pattern, the martial arts helps you do that.
Yes, it does.
And there is a sense that they don't seem to understand. But even as you get an adult, there is that discipline of getting up on time, getting to work on time, getting out of your bed to go to work instead of staying in bed because you partied late last night or you're just not feeling up to it. It is a discipline, and that is why I think that the Asian countries have that over the rest of the world, because they are so disciplined.
One of the reasons for that is they understand what it means to accomplish small tasks.
Right.
And we tend to want to always think about the big task at hand. And what it is, if you can get your kids, or you can get even an older person, to start understanding what it is to just accomplish little tasks.
Right.
A simple task, you may think, Kerry, what are you talking about? Set your alarm. You have to get up, but you need to be probably on, getting ready for work by 6 a.m.
Correct.
Set your alarm at 5:50. Right. Waking up at the right hour that ensures you get to work on time is a task. Because for you, if it's pressing, then it's a task.
Correct.
Once you start doing that, you're waking up on time, you have just now what?
Completed
a task. Alright? The other thing you should do is start making your bed up. Most people don't like making up the bed, especially teenagers, kids. They don't like making up the bed.
Well, find me one that actually makes up the bed. You say most.
And if you can encourage that youngster, all right, or even yourself, listen, I have to start making my bed up. Start making your bed up. That's another task you have just completed for the day. Right. But we wouldn't see it as that. We would just see it as something we just, oh gosh, I need to do it. More work to do. Yeah. But it's a little task. And you would see, if systematically, after you start accomplishing these little tasks, all of a sudden you'll find the bigger tasks become a lot simpler to do. After you have conquered and mastered this, so now you're waking up in the morning after 2 weeks, is nothing. I could just make up my bed. I'm waking up on time, I'm making up my bed, I'm getting to work on time, and little things, like let's say you're at work now and your desk is in a array. Organize it.
You don't want to see my
Organize your desk. You look at it every day, you come into work every day and you see that desk in a mess. But organize that desk. And before you leave to go home, that's another task. Prepare that desk. Make sure it's organized so when you get to work in the morning, you feel ready now to work. You're not going to come and see it all messy and exactly, oh gosh, And no matter how rushed you may seem, still try. And this is where the discipline that comes in. Will start to build. Because now, you're looking at it as, oh gosh, I had to go. What's the time? It's 7 o'clock, I'm working late. I want to go home, and you would leave your desk like that. But if it is you turn back, you start leaving the desk, but then you turn around and you look at it and you say, you know what, I have to deal with this in the morning, and it may start off my workday even later.
Correct.
You know what? Let me come back. It wouldn't take me too long, 2 minutes, 3 minutes to organize this desk.
Right.
That's a task. And that is when now the discipline would start to come in. You would realize now it will come like nothing because it's something you need to get done. And the discipline will start to come in, you know what I mean? Because it starts to fuse within you. And things that you found that was extremely difficult before is no longer so.
And I would say this, a lot of what you have said, I've heard before, I've seen before. It's a proven fact on a lot of that information, and it's just surprising to know that, you know, it's information in the public space, and we have not taken the opportunity to kind of infuse that in our young people within at the school level, starting from kindergarten. Why not?
Kindergarten. That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
And just create that level of monotony, that habit, so it becomes natural. You know what I mean?
That's it.
And again, and this is what we say is about evolving the society in the way it thinks, in the way it does things. There are enough models around the world that we can see are proven, can work, and it can be tweaked for our environment, for our demographics, for our population. And it's a much smaller population too. It's a more controlled environment. I look at Trinidad as such a controlled environment because we're not bordering another landmass with another country or anything like that. You know what I mean? We are surrounded by water. We have a twin isle. We're not just segregated with one piece of landmass. We actually have two pieces of landmass. You know what I mean? It's just, oh my goodness, it's just unbelievable. But Trinidad and Tobago, if you are finding this Mr. Grant face somewhat familiar, he did have a viral video on social media. And it was of him. I just want to touch with you on that just for a hot second, because let me tell you, when I saw that man, dude, I cringed. I felt what you were feeling at that point, man. My paws raised. Trinidad and Tobago, my paws raised, and again, whether it was true or not, as the incident is concerned. I just think that the visuals towards that was very, very traumatic.
I was prompted to make this video due to an incident that occurred in a school.
Right.
And as a father, having 3 sons, you know, sitting there and seeing what was going on my screen, and I was just about to get ready to run a training session, you know, with my guys, with my athletes, and it totally threw me off, you know, and I sat there and tears was literally running down my face, and you know, they sense it, they never see tears, so they thought someone died, you know, and to me, I said, yeah, it felt that way. To me, I saw the death of my nation, that this was it, you know, and people who knows me, they know how passionate I am about the youth, especially in my area, in South, in Maragala, you know, and I really go above and beyond, especially for the children and the young people that are within my fraternity, within my club, you know, like I tell them, it's more than just a club to me, we need to be like family. And I tell them that all the time, so we do a lot of things together, you know, and it's about building them and helping to encourage them. And after viewing that video, it was like we need more people to be in the lives actively of these young men and women that walk our land, you know, and it is so important, it is imperative now more than anything else that we get back to that point.
Correct.
You know, it's very important.
And I would tell you, like I was talking to Janice before the show, what were you saying? Where I said to you, the issues that we're dealing with socially in Trinidad and Tobago is not as what we had before in our time, because we had mommy, daddy, tanty, uncle, nene, the whole cast of characters within the family was always close by, always either within the home or was next to each other and that type of thing. You know what I mean? Whereas now we have such broken homes where there's a huge percentage of our population that is living in a broken home environment, where it's either the father or in most cases it's the mother that's looking after a child or kids. And this is a parent that now has to work 2 and 3 jobs just to survive. Now, it was about the sports and was it sports and spending more time with them.
That's
sports.
right.
That's how we started that conversation. And my response to that was, it's hard for a single parent to be able to have the time to really spend with the children because they are trying for survival, basically, to allow this child to survive, to allow themselves to survive, because again, they are doing this all by themselves.
Yes.
And this is what a broken home is basically about. Now, like we were also saying, one of the key initiatives in my mind that I think that can help that situation is that initiative of allowing minimum wage earners to be able to be approved for a home,
right,
if it's a starter home. Because again, these same parents, they're paying rent and they know that this is dead money. Their landlord can come and kick them out, and you know, that's it. They're in a total mess. So it's always about survival. They're always in survival mode. Whereas if you know that you have a piece of the pie, you have an investment or invested interest in something such as a home, you know, at least even if you were to get evicted, you still can get back something from that home as what equity was built in it. You know what I mean? So again, it's a greater pride and responsibility that I think single parents or parents or families on a whole will take pride and joy in trying their best to hold on to. You know what I mean? Which means that they would instill greater stability within the home environment. You know, I just think that it's a several pronged initiative, because it's not just about the homes, it's also about addressing the social problems directly within the home.
They have now.
You know what I mean? It's just so many different areas all have to come together to work in making this, you know what I mean, to be on the road for healing, basically, you know. But anyway, my next question to you would be this: how sporting programs are run now in Trinidad and Tobago? How do you think these programs can be improved?
Wow, that is the question. That's a $1 million question there. I believe, without a shadow of a doubt, all these programs can be improved. It will take some time, it will take some work, but they need to improve.
Right.
You know, they need to evolve. The programs that we have now that we are seeing today, to me, I think it's very ineffective. It's not that it's really not doing the job that I think they believed it should have been doing.
Right.
I don't think, this is my opinion, I don't believe that a lot of emphasis and a lot of thought, resources really went into the building and establishing of these programs. I think it's just something they put out there because, you know, it's another area that they need to cover. You understand? And it wasn't really thought out properly. I honestly, because there is, so when you look at these certain programs and certain things that are implemented now or have been implemented, you see a lot of gaps, you see a lot of holes, you see where this could be improved, things could be fitted in, you know, and I believe without a shadow of a doubt, given opportunity, with the right team, right initiatives, and right resources, the proper resources, we can bring about a lot of positive and necessary change within our sporting programs in Trinidad and Tobago.
So do you think that will help to reduce the crime and
Definitely.
get the young people off the street?
Definitely so. And this is right back to what I'm saying. Take for instance, back in the day again when I was growing up, right? Gasparilla was a little village, you know, it's still a little village, but back then there was so many sporting activities. Every weekend there was something going on the football field. There was something going on the grounds, you know what I mean? You would say, hey, what's going on? Is either cricket going on, is a football game going on, or the community will just throw a family fun day. You know what I mean? We don't get these things again in communities. Yes, we are building homes, but when you look at these areas that have homes built, within the HDC communities and so forth, how many active grounds, proper playgrounds and things that you see, they're now trying to do something. You know, you're seeing some now being erected and so forth. But then again, don't look at me and tell me, okay, you have the Attobolden Stadium, but people in Couval, look where the Attobolden Stadium is located and look where the housing development is. So how are you telling me So which means again, you leave it to the parents. They will have to go and drive to go and drop their kids off there.
Right.
Back in the day when I was a man, you just run off the street and you go and you play. It's what's there in the center of the community. Look at St. Pleasant Park. That's why I love it. That's where one of the areas I grew up in, South Pleasant Park. The ground, the football ground, the basketball court, it's surrounded by the homes. It's a circular, you know, everybody, you just driving right around the field, right around, you know. They got Skinner Park, for instance. It's right there in the center of San Fernando. All these guys around Mbakidi, Pleasantville, everybody used to just come across. Back in the day when I was playing, but I lived in Marabella, and I used to run down the bypass from Marabella to Skinner Park to go and play basketball with my team. I tell you, that was how, you know, we used to run it. You know what I mean? You know, not that we didn't have a basketball ring or court in my community, but you know, you're looking to play different people sometimes. So a team of us will say, hey, let's go on. But you know, this is how it was back then. And we don't see that now. We just don't see it now. When I drive past the basketball courts, it's empty. You will see a handful of kids on it. You know, you pass by the football fields, they're totally empty. Look, I was looking at the result of the Trinidad and Tobago football game against Guyana. A lot of people are upset that we drew the game. Hey, people, thank God we didn't lose the game. You know, it shows again of the programs, instability, ineffectiveness that we have established in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm a big fan of football. I love football. I used to play football at secondary school level, you know, and looking at football and the way how it is run here in Trinidad and Tobago, it needs revamping. You know what I mean? Like I was telling a good friend of mine, George, who covers a lot of sporting events from Scoreboard. I don't know if you're, he's a good friend of mine, and he covers a lot of events, sporting events throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Football right now, we keep looking ahead. We want to go to the World Cup. People of Trinidad and Tobago, we will reach the World Cup, you know. But here when we will reach the World Cup, when we decide to say, listen, let's not focus on the World Cup next 4 years. That is the problem we keep doing. That is the same mistake we are making over and over and over. We are looking at short term when we should be looking at long term goals. It is impossible to take a group of guys now that don't know each other because they're playing in MLS league, they're playing in that league abroad, they're playing in these different clubs, and bringing them together 2-3 months before World Cup qualifiers and trying to get them to gel together to play. Look at the Spain team. 90% of the Spanish team is Barcelona. These guys play together. Look at the English team. If you understand where I'm coming from, what it is we need to do is start implementing not just football clubs, but football academies. Academies are a big difference from elementary school level. If we could start implementing these things, a football club is just a football club to go and knock football, but academies is where the people go on to learn the basics. They go and learn the proper fundamentals. They learn what it is to, they learn the proper understanding of the game. And we start that from elementary school going up in every single community, which again now will also increase jobs. Right? We'll be making jobs. So we have guys, we have young talented footballers that they may not be the best footballer out there to make a team, but they can coach. They have enough education enough to go and coach. You know, and we set up these academies around the communities, and we take, this is how we do it, and we focus not just on the next World Cup, but 8 years down the road or 12 years down the road, and let us really revamp. Bring the guys in, we gel a team, a junior team from teenage years, because I mean, look, last World Cup, I think I heard there were like 16-year-olds playing on certain teams, or 17-year-old running out on the football field in the World Cup.
That's right.
You understand? I remember when Mr. Jack Warner helped bring the under-19, I think, World Cup to Trinidad and Tobago. Most of the games were played right in Manny Ramjan. I live in Marble. I used to just walk across and go and take in these games. Man, the skill, the level of these teenagers from these European and Spanish countries was wow. You know, when these teenagers can come and beat our national team.
Yes.
You understand? And it's because of the same thing. We need to implement proper structures, long-term goals, and move away from just, we had to be in it. Trinidad always want to be in everything. Let's take her back, revamp, clean out house, and get ourselves back in order before we decide to go out there.
I was looking at one of the morning shows this morning, and I didn't realize that Michael Johnson is in Trinidad.
Oh, really?
He
was in Trinidad?
Michael Johnson.
Michael Johnson.
Yes, 200 and 400 meter
All right.
world record holder, former world record holder.
Yeah.
And that was a guy that I idolized as growing up, you know, because I ran the 2 and the 400 meter. Yes, I was heavily involved in track and field.
It's a smart story. No, but that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I think they are looking to also set up some, I don't know if it's an academy as well, some institution in Trinidad, and they are looking to start tapping into our kids and those who have the talent.
It's about time, because Trinidad and Tobago, like I tell people before, we are so diverse, we are so special, we are a special group of people, you know.
That's right.
And we need to understand this. People don't understand how Trinbagonians, we are special.
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. You, Trinidad and Tobago, have heard me said this several occasions. We are a special people, because I keep saying again, I spent some years out in abroad, and everyone I met that was a Trini brother was at the top of the class.
Yeah.
If it was a man who was a producer, top of the class.
Yes.
If he was a sportsman, top of in his game. If he was an engineer, top of his class. If he was a woodworksman, top of his class. I mean, it was unreal.
Yes.
Because I'm saying, can I meet a Trinidadian who is a vagabond in America, boy? I mean, seriously. Could I? Is it possible? Or somebody who's not doing as well?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Excel when we go abroad.
Well, my point is
Really
even
do.
Trinidadians who are uneducated, who did not, let's say, come out with passes and that type of thing, and they choose to pick up a trade with using their hands or just that type of thing. Again, at the top of their class.
Yes.
I mean, like mechanics, I know a guy, I went to school with him. He did not finish high school. I met him in New York. He's a mechanic. And he was the best, top ace mechanic in the bloody place.
Yes.
You know why? They usually have specialists. Guy who's dealing with transmission, another one who's dealing with electronics, one who's dealing with the engine and you know, that type of thing.
Yes.
This guy, Trini, again, he learned everything. He knows how to do everything, which made his skill set second to none, basically.
Right.
You know what I mean? And again, this was an uneducated person, but of the soil, Trinidadian born.
Yes.
So we one know how to hustle. We two know how to adapt in just about any field.
Yes.
You know, in a layman terms type of way. You know, if it needs to be via our hands or along those lines. Like you said, bro. Bottom line, Trinidadians are a special people. Our real estate is a special piece of real estate that's on the planet.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like you said, for us to actually identify that, I think that would be one of the key stepping stones that the people will be on the road for true change within themselves, within our society, within the thought pattern of the population. Because what's happening right now is that the population has been brainwashed for 55 years with all the garbage that they've been having shoved down their throats, as well as the information that has been held back from them. Because the point why Trinidadians have not been rioting, as Mr. Imbut says, you know, and again, these are the politicians we have running the day. Because if this is a man who, again, the people were the ones to put him in office, you understand, and you have the audacity to turn around and say on a public forum that the people haven't rioted, I raised taxes 3 times, well, I'll raise it again, and making a joke out of this, when your purpose there is really to bring betterment to the people, to make life somewhat easier, better, more worthwhile. I mean, as an elderly person, what am I striving for? Look, it's gray hair on my face. What are we striving for when we get to our elderly age and having to retire? Look at the man dying in front of the hospital. I mean, these are things that it's when are we going to say stop? What is the catalyst that it needs that needs to manifest in order for the people to actually become on the same page? I have a lot of people who are saying to me that, blood had to spill, we had to have a civil war, it's all kind of madness and bacchanal.
Not necessary.
Well, this is what I'm saying, not necessary, but my point is, right now we have people gravitating towards PPS, okay, but we do have a portion of the population that is just so brainwashed. They still stand with the red and ready crew and yellow and steady crew as if, they are the God gift to politics and to this country. You know what I mean? And yet, 55 years, what do we have to show for it? You know what
I
I
have
mean?
a question for you. Let's dream a little bit.
No problem.
Let's dream a little bit.
Dream a little bit.
I'm afraid when you start talking like that, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Don't worry, it's all good. All good. Let's dream a little bit. Let's say you were to become the Minister of Sports tomorrow.
Wow.
All right?
Oh yes, I want to hear this.
One important question, and I think this will be a question that would be asked by a lot of you out there. What would you put in place for special needs kids?
I mean, that I
this
love
whole sporting.
I love that question, Janice. I mean, I have a soft spot in my heart for special need kids. As a martial artist, and I'm speaking from a pure martial artist perspective here, we supposed to strive to make things better for everyone.
Correct.
We try to be fair across the board. We want to improve not just lives, but we want to improve situations as well. My club personally, back about 2 or 3 years ago, I threw a tournament, and it dawned on me. There was a guy that he was actually in the Senate, Dr. Crayon Singh. Right, he's the paralytic. He was senator. I don't know if you all know. He's the veterinarian. He's actually a good friend of mine, and he inspired me also. To see him after such a horrific accident that claimed his legs, and almost his entire body. He wasn't able to move, and little by little he was able to bring himself back to the point where he could sit up and move around and have full use of his arms and things like that. And I used to see Crayon come into the gym, and he would be fumbling around with stuff, and the way I was brought up as well. And I'd say, come, let me help you out. And I would help him get into a position where he could use the machines and so forth. And to see Crayon today and how he's moving around, and he don't really need help for anything really. And he's doing surgeries on his animals and so forth.
Okay.
Yes.
Very nice.
He's a surgeon, man. He's doing his thing. And that inspired me to say, you know what, Kerry? There is no paraplegic or no special needs martial arts team in Toronto. None that I know of.
Right.
So we had a nice thing. I got in contact with the lady who joined home, and we went down there and we did a few demonstrations, and then we invited them to the team where we inducted them as honorary members of the Southern Warriors of Mixed Martial Arts.
Good.
They
must have been pleased.
Oh, very, very, very. And doing work with them, and then we had some other guys, other people that would come along the way that, were disabled or differently abled, is the way we should call them. Alright? We did a lot of work with these people too, and it showed just to see how they felt accepted. We didn't look down on them in any way. They were encouraged, and to see how their lives improved, was something that you can't take away from someone. That to see, your efforts being, to see how it affects someone positively, and you see they're a little bit perky, a little bit chipper. Right. You feel good about these things. And I have always been a lobbyist for differently able people in terms of getting programs installed or implemented for these people to have a fair chance across the board as any other athlete in terms of development where sport is concerned. You know, I even reached out to Drechy for the hearing impaired. That guy never got back to me. You know, with the blind welfare, I spoke with a lady at the blind school in South Trinidad. That's in the back of Marble. This was some years ago, you know, and she told me what avenues I should go to and so forth. And I went through those, and you know, I kept running into stumbling blocks because the mere fact that these people, they so believe that people aren't genuine when they come to their door to assist them, because their community is such, if you want to call it a small one, they stick to themselves. You know, they don't they don't believe that we are genuine. You know, we might just come out there and then throw them to the dogs, or we using them for some reason. You know, and we need to show these people that, listen, there are people here that genuinely care about your welfare, your well-being, and your status in Trinidad and Tobago.
I want to extend Janice's dream right now. Well, again, if you were to be in a position as sport minister, on a national level, where do you think the major changes directly will have to take place on a national scale, as in financing, in redevelopment, implementation, and execution?
Beautiful. I love the question. Minister of Sport. The first thing I would do would take a look at all policies, especially where not just on a national level, per se, because we are here about fixing Trinidad and Tobago.
Correct.
And again, I am not about just the sport. So it's not just about tennis, football, cricket. It's bigger than that. It's about the individuals that we have representing us in these particular areas of sport. We go right back to development. We go in, we're going to take it apart. We're going to dissect every policy. We're going to dissect every program to see how this is benefiting our nation's youth or young person, because sport has an age bracket, correct?
Right, yes.
Right? So we're looking at it from there. From age 27, 28 go down. I'm not saying people, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying guys over the age of 28, I can do a thing, I mean, I have a degree, I can still handle my stories. I ain't saying. But we're looking at these young people, because that is the ages that they are most impressionable, from the time they can walk, understand language, until they becoming into that age of young men and women. So we want to target that age group. And one of the things we need to look at is how it's developing them socially. Because with a proper social developmental plan going along with a sport plan is how you're going to get that disciplined athlete that knows what it is to train, what it is to work, how to manage his time, because of course they're going to be students as well. So now they're going to know how to manage time management, and that is another thing that we need to teach. How to properly manage time. It's not just about go to school, you come home and you run out on the court and you play football, or you run on by no.
And you know, I don't mean to cut you off there. I just want to just interject there for a hot second. I had a situation pertaining towards teachers giving children too much homework. And again, where time management is concerned, even where the schooling system, where teachers are concerned, again, it's no disrespect to them, because they're doing a phenomenal job with the tools that they have presently, and they're in a very deficient state. But aside from that, retraining of the teachers are also a big part to play with everything. As well as bringing them up to speed to the 21st century. You know, I mean, it's almost 100 pounds of books in this kid's bag, bro. It's and then it's a ton of homework, which takes from the time they get home till 9, 10, almost 11 o'clock in the night. So then now, where do you have the socializing time as a family unit? Where do you have, you know, there's no time to do anything else.
That's right.
So again, time management, even where the teachers are concerned, in how are they able to give enough information for the students and still allow the students to have time for themselves, to play, to interact with other kids and with the family as well.
This is why I see we have to concentrate in a certain generation, and we have to start dealing with the youngsters come forward. Reason being, if we don't invest, and this is something that is dear to me, we as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, we are no longer investing in our young people. We need to invest, and when I say invest, I mean invest our time, our finances, our resources, you know, invest it again. We look at everything, we attach cost to everything. You know, and which has been deterring a lot of, I would say, positive development. But if it is, we can somehow, again, and it will go back to the short-term goals, because we like to try and Tobago, instead of fix the whole road, we like to patch it. You know what I mean? And if that's correct, because of cost. But if it is, we understand, listen, this is a long-term goal. This is something that we are going to invest in. We're going to stick with it, and we will reap the benefits of it. You know, we're going to go down that road. We're going to say, listen, not that we're giving up on the rest, you know, but we want to make sure that we have these guys as we get older. Will it be we are so what is the word I want to use? We are so in a state of mind that we don't believe that these young people can now represent us. I think it's what's going on now. That is why naturally the older heads want to hold on to power, because they don't believe that we have what it takes to go there and represent Trinidad and Tobago properly. You understand? And if it is now, we can look at it and say, listen, there's going to be a time when we have to hand over, we have to change the guard.
But guess, you see what you just said there? The government of the day do not believe, what did you just say? That our young people are capable in leading the country.
Yes.
But they must believe it, because they're the ones that have created the environment that we're in right now, where again we are stifling our young people who have information. Because information is power, Trinidad and Tobago. Information is power. All right, it's not monetary value. It's not what you can own or what you can have. Information, because it's information that allows you to make better decisions.
That's correct.
And as a nation, we've had governments 55 years, 11 administrations that insisted on not giving the proper information for the population to thrive, to evolve, and to become a first world nation. And yet we jamming still?
We jamming still, boy. You know, and the funny thing, you mentioned that song quickly to touch on. I remember some partners of mine telling me, why Kerry this song? I said, did you listen to the lyrics
of that song?
The guy was being totally sarcastic in that song, you know. That song wasn't meant, that's why he didn't want to enter it as Soca Monarch and so forth. The man didn't sing that to me. Yes, it was a hit, and hats off to my boy, you know what I mean? But people get the true message of that song. We jamming still, you know what I mean?
It was a slap in the face.
Exactly, it's a sad day to wake us up.
You know, it wasn't to disrespect us. You know what I mean? It really was not to disrespect us. That song, it was a song subliminally to allow us to be awakened, because this is the environment we've been living in for so many years. We jamming still. It does not matter. I remember when it had the coup. I mean, good for God, oh my goodness, the country has just been taken over, for crying out loud. But yet we have curfew party, Trinidad and Tobago, serious. Come on, man. I mean, granted, that coup was a joke, right? Because I can't understand anybody trying to take over any country with 100 and something men. Don't make sense to me. But that's neither here nor there. That's not the discussion for tonight. But my point is, regardless of what is happening on the island, as negative as it possibly can be, Trinidadians always find a way to put a spin on it, have a positive outlook, and go party, and hey, we jamming still. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a good train of thought, because you're kind of taking away from the pain you might be going through or the distress you might be going through, and yes, you're drinking it away, you're partying it away, and all well and good. But we're at a point in Trinidad and Tobago right now where we're about to sink. Literally, we are about to sink. There are lots of holes in the ship, and you know, if we can't be plugging this thing anymore.
No, we can't.
We need to dry dock, And like Philip says, reboot.
We have to reboot. We have to look at all the programs holistically, and we have to dissect them and take them apart and literally rebuild them from scratch. We have to.
One last question I want to ask you.
Yes.
And that is because remember it's all about communities.
Yes.
Right? So just tell me a little bit on how still Minister of Sport.
And I liken that very much. I approve of that.
How would you go about, getting the whole sporting concept into the communities, and also when you do that, foster some kind of friendly community rivalry for different types of sports, so at least they get into the whole competitive spirit, but maintain the friendliness of the spirit.
Good, beautiful. I love the points that are being generated here on the show. As Minister of Sport Trinidad and Tobago, one of the things that I would definitely look at, and it wouldn't just be me, it would be a team of us, right? One of the things the team and I will be looking into is again revitalizing sport within the communities. And how are we going to do that? It's a very good question. We look at the geographical area of this community and also the sport that is most played or people tend to like more in that community. So let's just say, take for instance, down Barrapo is cricket. Kuva Prisal area is real cricket. No, I'm not saying it didn't have football and swimming and kind of thing going on there too, But we look at it, we'll do a survey. We go out there and we do the survey first and see what it is people like to do in these particular areas. And then now after we get that information, because as you say, information is power. After we get that information, we collect that information, the team and I will sit down now and we will say, listen, they like basketball more here, they like football, they like swimming, but still we're not leaving out anybody. And we are going to sit down and we're going to have now proper discussions with certain key elements within the communities that are responsible for sporting activities within that community. And we are definitely going to come together. We are going to create a plan, because it's not like we go in and just talk. Because when Kerry Grant say he go in and do something, he does it. Because anybody who knows me, and you go on my Facebook page, when I say we go in and do something, we get it done.
You hear that? The man talk.
So if I am telling you we are going to create certain aspects now of sporting opportunities within the communities. You understand? That will now generate, now look how we're doing it in such a way that it will generate not just income for the communities, it will also generate an influx of youth, young people, even the older ones now, generate that interest again to start bringing them out in numbers to come together within certain areas within the community. So now we have little football tournaments, little football leagues, little basketball leagues, you understand? Little cricket leagues. Something like tennis is not highlighted much, but we have some talented tennis players in Trinidad and Tobago. Here now, man, instead of just having one once a year, you know what I mean? How about we have little programs throughout the communities where we develop little tennis players, and we have now how you call zonals, you know what I mean? So now we having it functioning, going on right through the year, because you all have to have at least 3 or 4, you know what I mean, matches. Each zone within the nation have to put on at least 3 or 4 events for the year. So then now within these communities, we can now start looking out and seeing who are the athletes within these communities that are the ones really progressing and doing so. So now it's on a developmental stage. Now we can say, okay, that's correct. We can start looking at them and we say, hey, here what's going on. We have a big tournament coming up in the next 3 or 4 years that we want to gel these certain individuals, and of course everybody will still have a fair chance. But of course, at the end of the day, the goal is also to still put Trinidad and Tobago on the map internationally. So we still have to look for the best. You know what I mean? But we program, and when I say program, we're definitely going to program these kids all of them should be the best. Strive to be the best. All of them. So it's not just we looking at Mr. Jacob. Okay, Jacob, you're easy. We wouldn't tell him that. But because I'm a coach, so I would know how to encourage and help get that out of all.
I would love to see the guys who are lining on the block get into some sort of sport activity.
We are going to do it.
So instead of spending time on the blocks creating mischief, they are improving their talent.
That's correct. We're going to do it.
I look forward to that.
We are going to do it.
So do I. So do I. Let me tell you, it's been. I would like to have you back on the show again.
Definitely.
At some point in the very near future.
Not a problem.
Because there's just so much to talk about. There's so many different implementations of ideas, of protocols, of change that we are very interested in hearing.
The next time that I come back on the show, I will definitely like to talk about how we can correlate sport and education. The Ministry of Sport and Education. That's going to be the next segment when people are trying to be able to look out for me discussing that.
Yes,
definitely.
Yes, definitely. He's the man himself. We're going to actually, right after the show, we're going to set something in motion, maybe in the next 3-4 weeks or so, or maybe even sooner. Who knows? Maybe we might have the part 2 next week if you're available. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. But again, stay in tune with the PP page on Facebook. Be in the know, get all the information you need. Information Trinidad and Tobago. That's what it is. It's power. That's your power right there.
Yeah.
All right. So Janice?
As we close our segment, I would like to invite members to come and register on Saturdays from 12 noon to 2 p.m. for our Job Seekers Initiative. The address of our head office is 19 Stanmore Avenue in Port of Spain. When you're coming for that particular initiative, please walk with your resumes. I also want to take the opportunity to invite you all to come and meet the executives on a Saturday. Ask your questions, voice your opinion. It is discussion because everybody needs to come and say what they want to say instead of just staying in the background and staying quiet. Now is the time to get your voices heard.
That's right.
So every Saturday we are here from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Come down, meet the executives. It's also an opportunity for you to sign up as a member, and by getting to meet the executives, you get to meet who make up the party. Last but not least is Saturday. Next week Saturday is our PEP and Parang, which is going to be at Shakonia Inn, 106 Saddle Road in Maraval, starting at 5 p.m. until midnight. Admission is $200. Finger food is included, and there is going to be a bar that you will be able to purchase your drinks. We look forward to seeing all of you. Make the effort. Come with your family, come with your friends. It's a time again to meet the executives in a very informal environment. Interact with them again. You know, come and have the conversations, but as well enjoy yourself.
Yes.
So as we close, I would like to invite my guest to say that, you know, give a closing statement. Anthony, you too.
Yes,
so Kerry, you go first. Give a closing statement to our audience.
People of Trinidad and Tobago, you all heard what went on here tonight, and I want you all to believe that we are here to represent you, we are here to represent change, and we are not here to just talk. Give us that opportunity, give yourselves the opportunity to see it actually happen. I do not believe that we are so far gone that we cannot bring ourselves back. We are all here to lift our communities, and you are there to also do the same, and the only way we can achieve this is if we do it together. People, together we aspire, together we achieve.
Well said, well said. Yes. Mr. Grant, Mr. Kerry Grant, is a phenomenal pleasure to have you on the show. Again, I first saw you on social media with your rant and rave on that video that went viral, and again, you touched my soul, and as a father as well, I understood exactly where you were coming from and the pain that you were feeling. So I have somewhat of a type of connection to your drive and your will. So I get exactly where you're coming from, man, and you know, I look forward to having you back on the show again. I love a lot of the ideas that you have and the passion and drive in actually bringing change. And again, Trinidad and Tobago, we do want you to come to 19 Stanmore Avenue every Saturday, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Simply because we've been in the habit for the last 55 years and sitting in our backyard, sitting by the bar, sitting with our friends and talking the issues and problems that we're not happy about. But we have never gotten the opportunity to actually make that come to life. The PEP is here, Progressive Empowerment Party, and we have created the platform for the population of Trinidad and Tobago to come and have their voices heard and have some of those ideas actually implemented. Real implementation.
Correct.
And this is what it's all about. It's not about talk anymore. It's just to do it, man. Just do it. You know what I mean? And again, I'm proud to be a part and a supporter of the PEP initiative, and I'm happy to know people are coming on board. And again, it's just about information. So again, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. The Frontline. Again, my name, Anthony Defoe, your host, alongside Janice Learmond-Criqui. I just love it. You have no idea. I've been biting my tongue for months with this name, alright? And again, Mr. Kerry Grant, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on board here today. And I look forward to seeing you again. TNT.
So we want to acknowledge all our members and thank all of our viewers. To those who are on the road, please be safe.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night.